Good morning, Patriots. This is Flag Bearer, Fred Pepper, just a flag bearer. Checking in. I'm not going to be flying the flags this week. I'm going in today to my chiropractor to have him do an assessment and help me with rehabbing myself. I cracked two ribs kind of high up in the diaphragm. Kind of got my pec muscle too. I also, my both shoulders and my neck and back are just really unstable in every way. I've always had clackers with my joints, but my left shoulder all the way across into the neck and up the neck, and my hamstring, just all these things that are absolutely kicking up. And I want to get an assessment of what's passing through and what's going to be nagging me, and it's new territory for me. Always before it would be, kind of a pushing to get as much as I could. Right now, I just want to get what I should. I want to do this appropriately. I want it to be a growth situation for everybody involved. And I want, and then there's the world, I was watching the movie. We were the Titans, and they came back from this football camp, and they're just amazing. The unity and the transformation, and then they get back to the real world. And I have my faith, and I have my life with Jesus Christ, and then I have the real world. Well, either world, Jesus Christ wants me to be in the world but not of the world, wants me to be the master of my thoughts and my intentions and my emotions, and where I'm sending my negative energies and my positive energies. And I'm also going to be 70 on the 24th, and I'm feeling every bit of it. It's so hard to be who you are without taking into consideration where you are. And I'm supposed to be in the same place wherever I am, and that's in the good Lord Jesus Christ sitting on the throne of my heart, and me being the vessel, And within that, I have been told that, to pray Our Father, which means that we're related to God, which means that we're free. And so much of the controls that are holding this world together are fraud and intimidation and just going with the herd. And so much of it is, in doing that, there's a protection for us all. That's why using the model that Jesus gave us, if we're truly applying that model, we're so far ahead of ourselves, because in taking into consideration everyone, it gives us value. I fight for my survival, not so that I can live, but so that if there's another situation where we're fighting for survival, there'll be somebody fighting on your side. I like that about me. I call it my German Shepherd personality. Um, it helped me through some situations. I've been having a lot of fun lately because I got this Starbucks cup that's just great. It holds my liquid at a pretty stable uh, temperature during the times that I like to drink my coffee. And it's pink. It's pink. And I was at the thrift store on a day when I was low with money, and I got these headset. So, I'm sitting in Starbucks with my headset on and my coffee cup. And these guys come up every once in a while and they make a little remark or this, that, or the other. And it's fun as heck because, I'm guys are great and everything, but I'll go for my draw has been to women, and so when they start trying to kid me about it or even bully me about it, it just really is fun because I can use my words fairly well, and I don't have to fight anymore. I don't take a person to where we would do that, but I take them to where they feel uncomfortable. My son did it with me just before he passed. He'd go and he'd get flowers, and he'd bring me a flower and some other friends flowers and stuff, and we didn't even know what to think about it. And then he was killed, and I had this lady on the lake where we were getting the flowers, and so I started taking flowers to people, and while I'd take it to one of my buddies that was getting whacked around or something, and I just loved the awkwardness of the moment. It was so fun to me, and I know that's in itself kind of naughty, but it's just was such a wonderful coping mechanism for me for the years that I had that. When I was feeling where it was hard to get up and hard to be me, I'd get these flowers and I would give them to people, and I would always kind of run into the right person at the right time and watch the reaction to it, and it really helped me have value for myself that I didn't have at that time. And so anyway, I'm getting an assessment on what I need to do to get where I'm back to where I can walk with them flags and get back in it. The summer's coming on, and I like to do bases when I can, military bases, and I've got to be fit for doing it. It's hard enough when I'm feeling healthy, and it's a torture when I'm not. And but torture, I don't mean that. I go out there and I feel this, and then I get to working, and then I just another better person arrives, and I'm blessed, and I'm blessed to get to do it. I was asked at a time, what do you do this for? And I'd never really thought about it because I see so many of my heroes in my life, them doing that for me or other people, or that I just have to tell you that I thank God for my faith in Jesus Christ, mostly because when I'm hopeless, He gives me hope. I just have to ask for it. It's a promise from God for all of His children, everybody. But to actually know that you can call on joy, you can call on happiness, you can call on kindness, you can call on patience, you can call on long suffering. If you're in a position like I had these handcuffs on me for 2 to 3 hours, and there was no way to hold my body that didn't hurt, and my left shoulder was off the hook hurting, and I was able to ask God to help me with it, and I saw him in his moments after Gethsemane and how he managed all of that to be able to go as far as he possibly could before someone else carried his cross. And I haven't pushed myself like that yet, but I've pushed myself on what I could do a lot. I've been hurt lots of times. One of the people at a place where my friend goes to walk said that I was trying to get more hurt, for the thing. And I tried my best to go. If I could have gone the 2 times or 3 times that I went out since the abduction, I wouldn't know that I physically can't do it right now. And it would torture me to know that some hurting person might be inspired and might have a better day, or what God can do through good intentions is off the hook. And I have to do it from where I am and have faith that he's going to do it for me, the rest, until I can do it. I can't have my left shoulder popping out all the time. I had that once in 2015 after a vet I was working with jerked my shoulder out of its socket and really made it hard to keep it in ever since. And I've been building those muscles and got pretty good. And a week ago Tuesday, today, 2 weeks ago, it was Tuesday. Anyway, I got undone. Now I have to humble myself before the Lord, see where my part of this thing was, and then do the best. I got prayed on yesterday. Until yesterday, man, my pain was unmanageable. And these people was praying on me. My wrist, I think, is broken, my right wrist. And these guys was praying on me, and after they prayed on me, I was moving around and I popped it back in. And I don't know if it's a dislocation or if it's a doggone fracture. I do know it's like that pulling weeds, picturing all those little roots being pulled out. That's the kind of pain that I was having, that kind of pulling weeds thing. The same that I'm having in my shoulder down below it, and then all through my upper neck and down into the what I call my, where your harness for your bones sets, and your shoulders and all that stuff. And then down below where I'd hurt my back from a long, long time ago. And my hernia got squished down, and I had a pain shooting down my right leg, but that's gone. I still got the hernia, and it's still pretty gosh darn big, but it's not going to hinder me. It's going to be what it was. It didn't tear anything more or anything that I can see at all. And then I got to keep my heart right and do my best with this thing to have this be something that we all learn and grow from. I don't want to think for a minute that anybody in Renton is being treated like that by the cops, any of the cops, let alone, one that would go that far that fast. I was never read my Miranda rights. I was holding my position that they didn't have jurisdiction to pull me over, basically. That I was in a code violation. I had done nothing to give up my right to travel. And on top of it, we voted this tab things down I don't know how many times, and they just finally make it back because our votes don't count. And Washington, all this talk about the Constitution and them protecting us is just that. Because they got a law that they can walk up to you and they can demand your ID, and you're supposed to give up your constitutional right and fall right into line with that and give them their ID, or they can arrest you for resisting arrest. But they can demand my ID, they can beat the hell out of me, but they can't ask somebody getting ready to vote for their ID. That's just not right. In Washington, here, it was heard by a fairly good source, and I did not check it. I don't know how to check that. But $1 billion came in aid to the Seattle area. And I work with the homeless, and I care for the homeless, and they care for me. And I can tell you that money's getting sucked up in some kind of corrupt juice that does not in any way convey the aid to the people that we wanted to. I was a member of the King County Veterans Board, and my job there was an oversight position. Well, I had been active in nonprofits before, so I asked for the articles of incorporation. It took me almost 2 years to get it. Then they falsified everything and stuck it up there and told us that that's the way it's going to be. We don't even know where it started and where we lost our rights to make sure that there's not employees in between that money. We had 2 times that we had to pay people for suits out of the veterans' money. And that we're tossed in with the money for social welfare stuff. That was never intended with that. When that was done, it was done for veterans who were having troubles, and I mean troubles, surviving. It saved me several times. It has saved me several times. Since when I came back from my march and I was getting 50% of the money that I made taken out of my paycheck, I couldn't have gotten into any kind of a place to live. And one of the guys there showed me mercy and wrote a good letter for me, to help me in. And then when I went into a new program, apprenticeships for non-traditional employment for women, and then they put on admin because they couldn't get enough women in it to keep it floating. And veterans were preferred, and I had, my income was down because I had been laid off and living off of the unemployment. And I got into that, and man, I'll tell you what, that was a bright future for me. It was a bright future. And I liked the unions teaching people how to do their jobs and mentor people to make sure that they were thorough about it, and that we conveyed and we maintained a professionalism in our journey. And yet this prevailing wage just sucks the money out of every kind of public thing that's done, and it's done because we're going to pay union wages. And then there's all these things for people that aren't union, and they just make it, there's just so much everywhere. And I'm just working on one little thing at a time, and I'm asking you to do the same. We need to have our care for one another back into the system, and even with Donald's chirping off and whatnot, man, he's mostly talking to the people who need to be chirped at, to be honest with you. And glory be to God. Thank you guys. Love you so much. And I've been working on myself with icing and stretching and doing as much as I can that doesn't hurt me more. And trying to keep my respiratory healing. I'm having all kinds of phlegm and stuff come out of my lungs a lot more than I typically do, and out of this, like my left side particularly, and my shoulder on both sides, but my left shoulder is just going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute. I don't remember it being like this ever before. It's like really very angry hurt. And the stuff underneath the arm, all of that stuff is just really, on both sides, is just really, really very traumatized. And so, you know, I'm in it to win it. If the battle was going on, I wouldn't even talk about this shit other than to whine to my buddies. And if I was in a game, I'd not play the game right now. You know, I would also have a lot more care in working out the trauma of it. You know, I'd love to go down to VMAC and have those doctors take a look at me and then tell me what to do, because I'd trust their experience a lot more than my own, which is a rare deal. God bless you guys. Last time I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye. Happy trails.